Let's talk about the greatest name in modern day horror.
James Wan.
We're talking haunted hotels, modern day vampires. We're talking a teenager with ESPN or ESPN.
ESPN. She can read minds.
Let's talk about
Who are you?
I'm scared. I'm Dr. Paul.
Boo! Happy birthday. I'm Diet Dr. Paul.
And together we are Rotten Potatoes, father, son, boomer, millennial, talking about movies. I just saw a thing the other day, an advertisement for a show about talking about sports with my dad. And I thought, they clearly stole our idea.
They ripped our idea.
They did. We talk about movies, comic books, politics, sometimes faith, model building, etc. And this episode, we're doing a hot take on a movie that you missed.
Most people missed it.
Yes, you did.
Most people missed it.
Yes.
And it's a crying shame, let me tell you.
Are you really going to cry?
I mean, there were some emotional times in it.
Not for me.
No, not a single tear. But like I said, if you wouldn't sort of pre-indicated to me via your tears that something sad was coming up, maybe it would have been more apt to get me. But I would like, oh, so sadness is coming up. Check. Got it.
What are we talking about?
We're talking about The Life of Chuck.
Yeah.
Good.
Written, it's a novella written by Stephen King.
Yes.
And just it's really hard. In fact, I have, since I've seen it, this is the third time I've seen it.
Don't say anything about the synopsis.
Yeah, I think that the best review that I read was in the Roger Ebert, who said, the less you know about this, the better.
Yep.
It's basically 3 acts, and it's told Act 3, Act 2, Act 1. So it's backwards. And that's the same structure that Stephen King in the novella, starring Tom Hiddleston.
Sort of.
Yeah. And Mark Hamill is certainly in this.
And I butcher his name every time. So I just called him Okafor or Ochafor or whatever his name is. I cannot.
Yeah, he's
an amazing actor.
Oh, great. The casting was great kind of
Karen
stuff.
Gillian. Some good actors in it.
Yeah. And so it's really, instead of us, we're going to keep true in terms of we're not going to tell you a whole lot about the movie. And I know that that's kind of, we'll tell you what to expect. So don't go to this expecting gore and horror. It's much more closely related to the DNA of Shawshank Redemption or Stand By Me. In fact, there's been a lot of discussion online that it's especially following the same pattern as Shawshank, which bombed at the box office despite having just critical review. It was nominated for Best Picture, for crying out loud.
Should have won.
And in the same thing is true. The reviews for Life of Chuck are amazing, but people just didn't go. It's a hard film to market. So if you have a spouse who hears the words Stephen King, says, no, I don't want to have anything to do with it. My wife is not into horror whatsoever. She watched it. She loved it. It's a very sweet movie. It's dark, especially the first act is very, very dark. Despite the fact that it's full of humor and music and whimsy, it's really dark and the themes are dark, but powerful. It's one of these things where you sit down and once you've watched it and you lay in bed at night and you think about your place in the world and what it means.
It's not a standard Stephen King movie by any stretch of the imagination, but I feel like it's the difference between a movie and a film. This is a film. It's not a movie. This is something that it's going to make you think. It should make you think about your place in the world. But it is one of those films where it's not a scary movie from like a jump scare perspective, but it is a haunting film. And I sometimes think that these movies are infinitely more emotional and will get to you to the crux of that like scary place far more than any Mr. Shiny or the Mr. Grabber or whatever the new flavor of the week is for the serial killer. I think this type of film is just infinitely more
and
disturbing.
harder to make. I think
without a thousand times
it's
over.
so much easier to do the jump scare and the gore and all this.
Dialogue driven.
It is, and it's essentially I mean, the movie. If you try to explain it, I'm gonna say things now. People say, "Well, I'm not going to it." It's about math.
If you said that to people, I'd be like, click. This is a story about math.
Yeah, it's about Carl Sagan and the history of the universe and
I love that analogy that
terms,
they implant.
the length of the universe. And,
Yes.
click. No, I don't want anything to do
That's
with
one
that.
thing I think we could say is there's an analogy that they use throughout this film in like terms of the length of the universe and where do we stand in terms of like just being a speck on the dot. They say if you treat existence like a calendar on like a year-long calendar, humans weren't even created until the last day of the year with like 2 hours to go, and it just puts things in perspective.
Yeah.
And that was an incredibly poignant sort of like I guess skeleton to structure your
And think
narrative
about
off.
this too. It mirrors, on one hand, with Carl Sagan, that map allows you to see what has happened. But this film also has a mechanism to show you what will be.
Mhm.
And it's the juxtaposition of those, because it's really terrifying.
But it also
to know the future, how scary
Yeah.
would that be?
Yeah, it also says that I like that little teeny bit in there, and I didn't mean to cut you off, that where it says that even though we're at the last 20 seconds of this, that can be eons. It
Yes.
can be eons.
Yes.
It's not the end of everything if you put it that way.
Yeah.
So it was just really weird.
Well, typically in these hot takes, we talk about what's good, what's bad, and our verdict. So start us off about this. This is fresh for you, and like I said, I've seen it. This is my third time.
So this will be a good spot to come at. Well, for me, it's one of those movies that I love movies where I don't know what's going on, but it's not like a confusing, like just to be confusing. It's I'm immersed in what's happening. It's such an inventively unique story to be told that is not following a standard format. So it really keeps me, it's like on the edge of my seat, like, ooh, what's happening next? What's next? What's next? What's next? And that is this movie to a T. I'm telling you, it's just surprising. You're not going to be prepared for this film. The acting is superb. The casting is great. You get, Matthew Lillard showing up with these little teeny, like smaller roles that really floor you in their own way, just being just teeny little cutouts, scenes. The music is great. The cinematography is great. The special effects in a film like this are actually really, really, really good. It's just one of those movies that you could tell the people cared about. It has a director who's a good filmmaker on it and a cast that cared about it.
Yeah, I agree with you about Matthew Lillard. I think this is his single best performance on film.
And he's on screen for 5 minutes.
And I'm telling you, but it
Captivates
was powerful. It was acting. It was from the heart. It wasn't overplayed in any way. It's moving. I mean, he seemed more real to me in this role than anything he's ever done. And if he's capable of doing this, this is a guy who's someday capable of standing and the Oscar goes to. I mean, I really do think he has that. With the right role, I think he's definitely he's got it. I agree with you about the music. I like the structure of the, and of course, and thanks to Stephen King for the 3-2-1, starting at the third act and going. I think that was brilliant casting. I totally agree with you. It is. You mentioned music. You didn't mention dancing, and there's dancing in this. We said that it's about ballroom dancing, which essentially is
there's some dancing in it, but it's not La La Land or anything.
No, it's really not. But the dancing is really quite good.
Mm-hmm.
It's really, and it's the Chuck character as an adult dancing, and as a young child, the dancing. It's really hard to get. There's 4 different people that play Chuck, and it really is just difficult to get. Child actors are hard, and the kid that plays that does the first act he's brilliant. You can't take your eyes off him on the screen.
I thought there's you could draw a line through all of them, and they were very realistically like comparative to one another, and I felt like in a real world they could have been the same person.
Yeah, everybody's going to love Mark Hamill playing the grandpa, but the grandma, man, she was just one. She's the kind of grandma that you would want to have, kind of stuff. I mean, she cooks and she's loves rock and roll, and she's teaching the kid dance moves and all that kind of stuff. She's the voice of reason in the house. And Grandpa told you this or told you that. Nah, Grandpa just drinks a little bit too much.
It's the numbers.
It is. I totally agree with you in terms of being lost, but you stick with it because they keep having this repetition. There'll be a phrase or something will happen in one act, And that same exact phrase will happen again in another act, perhaps by a totally different person. You're saying, where have I heard this before? The sense of deja vu. Um, and so there's a whole lot of what's going on here? What's really happening here? But it's not one of those things where you and I have both had this experience where get to it. All right, just tell me what this is about. In a certain way, weapons, I kind of was getting a little bit impatient, like, okay, so what is it really going on? Or Sinners, even what's really going on here. This one, this didn't overstay its welcome, and it really is. It's about humanity and people, and can't we all just get along? Can't we all just be kind to each other and sweet and have love, joy, peace, patience, kindness kind of thing? So, yeah, I think it's pert near a perfect movie. Anything you can think of that was bad?
I don't think it's a perfect movie, but I think it's close to it. I think for me, the issue really boils down to is I think the third act in the film was a little long. Because I think by the time we get there, we sort of rounding the corner on the climax.
Do you mean the third, or do you mean act 1, 2, or 3?
I mean the third act in terms of, like, as us viewers, the end of the movie. But it would have been act 1 in terms of the labeled acts on the screen. So yes, act 1, but our third act in the viewing pattern. Good to clarify that. When he's a kid with his grandma learning the dancing and all that, I thought it was just a little bit long. Could have pulled about 15 minutes out of it. Another thing, and it's tough to write dialogue for children. There were just some dialogue moments in it where the kids would say stuff, and kids don't talk like that. It was the rollerblade girl said some stuff. I was just like, yeah, kids don't really talk like that. Some other little things here or there. But again, it's little nitpicky stuff. It's not anything that's like going to take you out of the story. Really, it's like we're doing a show where I have to say something. I got to find something bad or I'm not doing my job. That's really what it boils down to. It's not a movie where there's these gigantic errors. Like you said before, sometimes movies can feel a little aimless when they're being mysterious. This is not a movie that felt aimless. It's a movie that you knew there was a method to this madness. You weren't worried about, was this going to go off some crazy cliff at the end of the movie? So I don't think that it has any drastic negatives to it.
You can tell that it's a Stephen King film from the way he writes, not just his dialogue, but he says these things, these little nuggets, like, will knowing why something happened add to its enjoyment? You just sort of sit and think about that that's almost like Proverbs right out of the Old Testament. Knowing why things happen, would that make an experience you have feel better? I mean, he just has this fresh way of turning things or showing things that is amazing. I didn't pick up the thing with the kids, and for me, the act that felt the longest to me was really more the middle act, and that was the one I really liked much more because it's the there's the dancing and the street busking that's going on. But now, having seen it 3 times, it's like, okay, it could have been a little bit shorter, a little bit editing of that. But the first time you see it, it doesn't feel long.
Yeah, I didn't feel that way.
Yeah, but after seeing it 3 times, it's like, okay, I could get that. Yeah, kind of thing. How would you rank this in the pantheon of Stephen King? Like, what do you think is your favorite Stephen King film adaptation?
Well, I think it's more apt to measure this against the other non-scary stuff. Maybe you could put, we'll say, Stand By Me, Shawshank. Maybe you could throw Green Mile in there. I will say this: as good of a movie as this is, time is not on its side. Time is on the side of Stand By Me. Time is on the side of Shawshank. We've grown to really appreciate these films and love them. And they've stood 20, 25, 30 years later. They're still just as ass-kickingly good. So is Chuck that good? I don't know. I got to watch it 10 times. I got to let it sit for 15 years before I can make that judgment call to say that, yes, it is up to snuff. Does it have the potential? Certainly. But time's going to have to sit on this one to say that for sure. And that's the unfortunate measure of it.
Before watching it today with you, I would have said it is better. It's the best. It's the best that he's ever done, followed closely by Shawshank and then Stand By Me. But after seeing it this third time, I don't think so, because I don't know that it has the rewatchability we joke around about this. We use Shawshank Redemption as almost like an icon that when you're
It's a
watching
litmus
television
test.
and you're flipping through something and you see a scene from Shawshank, you stop and you're going to watch the whole thing. I don't know that would be the case now with The Life of Chuck. It depends on which one. Those three acts are so unique in of themselves. I could watch either one of those, but would I continue from one into the next one? Or what I'm
I
saying?
definitely think that I like the first act at the beginning of the movie, that one the best. Act 3, Act 1, whatever you want to call it. I mean, that by far is my favorite act because it's just the craziest, most out there, like what's happening, section of the film.
Yeah,
but I don't know.
And it's the darkest one. It's
Yeah,
the one.
It's the most thought provoking.
If that movie ended at the end of that thing, yeah,
oh, yeah, I'm coming back for number 2.
That would be that could be a short film.
It's already got. I'm telling you, I've already got an idea cooked up in my brain, sitting here talking about.
Yeah,
that I could use.
So.
But I do think that I get what you're saying. I think I would agree with everything you just said on that.
Of
Maybe
course.
It doesn't have the same rewatchability.
Yeah, but let's talk scores. I'm gonna give it a 9.
I was gonna give it a 9.2 out of 10.
The point that I think that I would strongly encourage you folks out there is to go see it. Is to get a copy of this. Yes. I don't think it's playing in theaters anymore.
No.
Just because it is. 90 minutes, 2 hours of time that it will be magical for you. It is. I mean, we're not trying to convince you to go see a movie that has mixed reviews. It's not. It's almost universally acclaimed.
Yeah.
This movie. You got to go into it and give yourself a little patience because it's going to start off and you have. I know. I kept looking over you, and you said in the first act is. I don't know what I'm watching. I'm totally lost, but I love it.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. So give yourself that experience and get as many people as you possibly can to watch this movie.
But only people that know how to shut up and watch a movie.
Yeah.
Don't bring your chatty Cathy staring at her cell phone or staring at his cell phone friends over. We don't want them here for that.
Grab your mom or your dad or your son or your daughter and sit down. And if you love Stephen King, you will love him even more.
Yes, I think so. And also, I think by association, you're going to love Mike Flanagan even more.
Yes. Yeah. And Mr. King, thank you for what you've done to the genre and the work that you've done. And thank you that you haven't just done all things that would be considered. Horror is broader. It can be seen in different ways. And what is horrific? I mean, the first act of this is horrific kind of stuff. And so thank you for that. And thank you for having a meaning to the work that you do and a heart to that. And that lessons can be learned from the work that you've done.
Thank you for the misery that you've shared with me, both literally and figuratively speaking.
Except Maximum Overdrive.
I don't have a problem with Maximum Overdrive.
Well, I think Mr. King does. I mean, for everything that I've read, I mean, but anyway, I digress.
I digest.
Yes. So, but go see it. Please,
yes.
Let's rescue this film from oblivion.
Yeah, this is a movie that screams to be seen. It's different. It's unique. It's surprising. Get out there and go see this movie. 1,000%.
Yep.
Don't just take our word for it. Take other people out there. Go check the TikTok, Movie Talk, Film Talk. I'm telling you, people are raving about this movie.
Yeah. It just didn't, well, of course, when things come out in theaters, and I think sometimes it's easier to sell these big budget special effects films.
Yeah, how do you market this movie?
And I never saw in fact, I need to do that. I need to go back and look at the trailer for this.
I don't know how much I'll even use the trailer.
Yeah, I don't know what they again, I didn't do that. And that probably might explain why it didn't find the
well, I told you
audience.
that what I remember from seeing of the trailer was it reminded me like they were marketing it like La La Land.
Yeah.
And that's not what this movie is.
And I did not enjoy La La Land.
I didn't either.
Yeah.
Which is why I didn't want to see it first. So
yeah. So what do you say to me?
Thanks, Dad.
Thank your dad and your son. Where are we going to see you next?
At the movies.
Booyah.
Kill me.